Up next, I want to talk about grouping and aggregating data. So within the Transform tab of the query editor, you'll see this Group By option on the left. And this allows you to aggregate or roll up your data at different levels of granularity. So one of the common examples of this would be doing something like transforming daily transactions into weekly or monthly, or rolling up transaction level data by store, by product brand or region, etc. So it's taking a really deep, really detailed table and rolling it up into a higher level summary. So let's take a quick look at an example. Here we've got order quantities by order date, product key, and customer key. And the important thing to note here is that we have multiple orders for a given product key. In this case, the product number 214 has been ordered multiple times on multiple days by multiple different customers. And if you wanted to transform this table into a summary of orders or order quantities rolled up by unique product keys, the Group By option is a great way to do that. So when you click the Group By button, you'll see this dialog box that looks something like this that basically allows you to tell Power BI, hey, I'd like to group this table by unique product keys, and the operation that I'd like to evaluate for those product keys is the sum of the order quantity column. In other words, you're taking all of these duplicate rows with the same product key and multiple order quantities, and you're compressing them down to one. When you do that compression or aggregation, how do we want to treat those order quantity values? Now, in this case, we're taking a simple sum, and we're going to end up with a table like this. 2 columns, one containing unique distinct product keys, and the second containing the total quantity, or the sum of order quantity values associated with each product key. So to recap, what we've essentially done is transform a daily transaction level table into a summary of total quantity rolled up by product keys. And the important thing to note here, as you may have noticed, any fields that we aren't specifically calling out in our Group By settings are lost. They're not preserved in that final table because we've eliminated that level of granularity. Now, one more example using the advanced option, and let's consider that same exact table that we started with. We're using the same exact Group By option, but this time we're looking at the advanced version. And really the only difference here between the basic and advanced is that advanced allows you to specify multiple columns or additional columns to group by. So this time, instead of just grouping by product key, we're grouping by product key and customer key. And again, we're evaluating that same operation, the sum of the order quantity values, just like before. This time, what we end up with is a 3-column table with product key, customer key, and total quantity. So to recap, we've again transformed that daily transaction level table now into a summary of total quantity aggregated by both product key and customer key. In other words, we're now looking at quantities by each unique combination of those two fields. And the best comparison that I can make to this, it's really just like creating a pivot table and pulling in the sum of order quantity into your values and your product key and customer fields into your row labels. All right, so that's grouping and aggregating data in a nutshell. Let's jump over to Power BI and we'll actually work through an example or two. All right, so back in my AdventureWorks report, and instead of adding new data, we're going to jump right back to the query editor, and we're going to edit the sales data table. All right, so if we select our sales data 2022 table, which contains daily sales records broken down by product and customer keys, right, territory keys, right, this is a great candidate for using group by and aggregation tools. So just like in our demo, we're going to select the product key here. All right, and let's say that we want to group this entire table, which contains multiple product keys and multiple instances of product keys, right? And we can see that if I sort ascending, right, we've got all of these different product keys that are repeating for different orders. And we could scroll down here. Might take a while if we scroll, but trust me, right? There's a lot of different product keys contained within this table. So the idea here is that we want to take this table, collapse these rows with multiple product keys into essentially a summary table. And just like the example on the slide, we want to evaluate the sum of order quantity for each one of these product keys. So from here, what we want to do is head up to the Transform tab, and then we're going to click Group By, and we're going to start with our basic option here. So we want to group by product key. And for our new column name, let's call this something like total quantity. In the operation that we want to perform here, we have a bunch of different options for some different statistics tools or aggregation functions. So sum, average, median, min, max, etc. Right? And we want to find the sum of our order quantity column. So we'll press OK. And just like our demo, this collapsed our data into a 2-column table that's now aggregated by the quantity field with the associated product keys, right? And we have a unique list of product keys here, which we can see, again, if we sort this column, right? So instead of having multiple repeated values in rows for product 214, we have a single row for 214, 215, 220, and so on. Now, let's do one more example here, and I'm actually going to remove these applied steps here. So we'll select our product key column again, come back up, we'll group by, and this time I want to select the advanced button, right? So what this again allows us to do is add a grouping here, and you can add any other sort of field that you want to pull in from the table, right? By date, order number, customer key, territory key, so on. And here I'm going to select customer key because I want to see the total sales for every combination of product and customer. And again, we can call this total quantity. The operation, we'll do a sum, and we're going to base that on the order quantity column. We'll click OK. And now our result changes. We now have a 3-column table containing the unique combinations of product key. Again, we'll sort this, right? Of product key, customer key, and our total quantity, right? So now you can see that we have multiple instances of product key because we've added another dimension here, our customer key. So there you have it. And once again, let's go back and we'll remove these applied steps for grouping and sorting. And at this point, we actually don't need to save any of this because we don't want to load any of these changes into the data model. We really haven't made any sort of significant changes, so no real action is needed here. All right, that's going to wrap up your crash course on grouping and aggregating data.